Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to CG in Asia. So today we have 4 speakers from Asian area to talk about the vivid story of CG industry in Asia. Our speakers are Tomosh Punas from Australia. He's chair of SIGGRAPH Asia 2019 conference. The second speaker is Isamu Hasegawa from Japan. He's from Luminous Productions. And the third one is Bektor Rizkadiev from Kyrgyzstan, from University of Tsukuba. And the fourth one is Holly Zhao from China, Original Force. Okay, let's begin.
Thank you, Rick, and thank you for inviting me to give this talk. For those who don't know, we're coming with SIGGRAPH Asia to Australia next year. So that's our logo. So if you didn't see it yet, you're going to be seeing it very often, I hope, for another year and a half. So the SIGGRAPH Asia will be in Brisbane. I will show you a couple of slides about SIGGRAPH Asia and also like the promo video that we have from Brisbane. Brisbane marketing especially, and you'll know a bit more perhaps after this talk about SIGGRAPH Asia itself. So a few words about myself. So I'm the chair of SIGGRAPH Asia 2019, but as well director and head of visualization at the Expanded Perception Interaction Center, which is located in Sydney at UNSW Art and Design Campus. And I'm as well team leader in visual analytics and CSIRO Data 61. And individual member of the Kronos Group, and as well adjunct associate professor at the QUT in Brisbane. And I have very international kind of background, so I lived in Europe for a long time in Poland, and I spent a couple of years in Japan, so I did my PhD in Japan, so like really love coming back to SIGGRAPH Asia this year to Tokyo especially. And I lived in the US and Australia, and my wife is Korean, so very international background, as you can see. So SIGGRAPH Asia will be trying to connect as well internationally. And I'm as well very old school demo scene, so if you don't know about demo scene, this will be one of the programs in SIGGRAPH Asia next year. So you already know this is a surprise, but it's gonna be super, super cool. So it's all about real-time computer graphics, and to be very, very happy in the program. So tell you a bit more about what I do in daily life, professional life. So I lead the lab which is called Epicenter, as I mentioned. And Epicenter has 4 very unique labs. So what we have like Epicylinder, which is like this big screen, which is currently the highest resolution cylindrical screen in the world. So almost 120 million pixels in 3D. So it constitutes the highest resolution VR system in the world. Compared to HTC Vive, it's around 60 times in resolution, so it's very, very high res. And as well fully collaborative, because you don't need to simulate avatars and so on. You can come all together into one place and see each other, and see as well being immersed in the virtual environments. Dome lab, so gonna show you as well how it looks. So hemispherical dome that you lie underneath and watch animations or movies. XR lab, so having mix of different virtual reality, mixed reality, AR devices and multi-touch walls, and as well AVSE that hosts another cylindrical screen with motion capture lab. So Epicylinder looks like this. So it's built of 56 screens, HD resolution. So it's very short throw projector sitting behind every screen. And if you add everything together, you get 120 million pixels in 3D. It has as well 3-dimensional sound, so a 32-channel sound system, so you can simulate as well ambisonics, so you can do not only vision but as well 3D sound. The Epicenter has as well like servers sitting downstairs, so that's like one of the image of our cluster, and you can see the cake. You may ask why there is a cake, right? So we have tradition that software, like whoever is coming to Epicenter, we ask the very first question is, when is your birthday? And if you have your birthday, you need to bring a cake. And if you bring the cake, because we are like always busy, our software developers always forget about the stuff, so they go and buy like a frozen cake. So what we do, we put it just behind the GPUs and put heavy compute, and in 2 hours it's ready for the coffee break. So that's how you can use supercomputers these days, but don't tell anyone, okay? So some of the examples of the projects we do is, this particular one is very, very cool. It's looking at the genomics viewer, so have data coming from the School of Medicine, looking at how you can interact with the genomics data set. So you're seeing map of chromosomes, visualized at the same time, and it's working as a microscope on the data. So you can go inside the cave and interact with the data, as you can see. On the top of it, in the cave, we use as well Microsoft HoloLens. So it's very, very cool because you can use your gaze to interact with different data points, but as well you can use your voice commands. So you can say zoom in, zoom out, or bookmark the place, and you can have like this full human in the loop interactivity with your scientific data sets. One of the another projects we did in the past was looking at the drug discovery. So imagine having like a cancer cell and you're looking for the drugs that can cure the cancer, right? So you're applying the drug to the cancer cell and observe how the cancer cell is evolving under the microscope. So then we use very heavy statistics to calculate similarity measures, and we're getting 56-dimensional space, collapse it using multidimensional reduction algorithms such as PCA or t-SNE, and then we can go inside the data and look for the outliers, very quickly find that something is going on with the cell structures, or something happens that possibly if you do thousands of experiments, you will be able to find the cure for the cancer. So that's basically in a nutshell. If you want to talk a bit more about this, I'm happy to catch up with you after the session and tell you a bit more about the project. Another project is looking at the network visualization. So this particular one is with the collaborations with the Australian government when we are looking for visualizing in real time 1 billion nodes networks. So you can very quickly browse through the different nodes and find different answers to the questions built by cross connections and connecting different businesses, connecting different government agencies, and different questions about all of us can be answered in just a couple of seconds. We do as well like very heavy computer graphics. So this one is using fragment shader, which is perhaps the highest resolution fragment shader in the world. So using traditional, fragment shader, when you attach, I call it like usually attach mathematical functions to every single pixel on the screen. And if you do that, you can visualize the magic, like for instance, ocean. And Bondi Beach is like 20 minutes away from our labs. We never go to Bondi because we can simulate the ocean in-house in just a couple of seconds. Then hemispherical dome is the one of the rooms we have in Epicenter. So it's very powerful. It's almost 7 meters in diameter. It can travel as well. So it's like we can dismantle it in just couple of hours and just send it to different place. So my kind of hope we can bring it, most probably if you'll be coming to SIGGRAPH Asia next year in Brisbane, then you'll be able hopefully to experience what we are doing with the hemispherical domes as well. So this particular one is showing like a snapshot of the animation done by Drewberry, and it's looking at how the human blood molecules are being attacked by the common cold virus. So you can use actually like a storytelling as a way of explaining very complex science, and especially if you do animations and you want to do like visualize the complex science, perhaps 80% to 90% of the stuff you need to study this very heavy scientific paper. So that's what Drewberry is doing every day as well. Okay, so this is a bit about myself and the lab, and let's talk about the nature. So this is Australia. Okay, so I'll tell you a bit more about Australia. So we are in SIGGRAPH in Asia session, so this is part of it. So Australia is like very unique nature, so we could be Australia in Australasia, we call it, and you can see we have like beautiful animals. So that's one of the reasons you should come to SIGGRAPH Asia next year as well, because you not only can be exposed with the super cool community like the computer graphics interactive techniques, but as well you can explore the beauty of the subtropical climate in Brisbane. So this is animals, and this one shows the city. So this is Brisbane CBD seen from the helicopter's view, and Brisbane River. So it's like a city which is, in my opinion, very similar to Vancouver in terms of feelings. How I feel in here is very similar to how I feel in Brisbane. So it's very, very interesting. It's a small city, very walkable, so you can walk to almost every single place inside the city. And I will show you as well a map what the convention center is as well, so you know it's not very far to go anywhere you want in the city. So a couple of facts. So Brisbane is the closest Australian capital city to Asia, so on the east coast. And it's the Australia's New World city, so 146 billion economy. And it has like 283 like shiny days. So basically what I'm saying is we can almost say that if you're going to be guys coming for Brisbane next year, we're going to have perhaps beautiful weather and we can do barbecue every evening, okay? So it'll be like mix of stuff coming up. So populations are 2.2 million people, and more than 25% of Brisbane-siders are from overseas in some way, so very international community as well, which is very, very nice, and it's a research and innovation hub. It shouldn't be too hard as well to connect with Brisbane, so that's where the Brisbane is located, and it has like air connections of almost every destination, so it's very, very easy to fly into Brisbane, and in just a couple of hours you can be at SIGGRAPH Asia. And this one has sound, so I'll try to connect. I think we didn't connect sound, so it's here. So I will show you now the promo video from Brisbane Marketing. So it will show you what the Brisbane look like, and I hope it will inspire you to actually come along next year. That's Brisbane. So yeah, mark your calendar seriously. So just 2 more slides to show you, and I just finished. So convention center is located. Just try to go with the mouse somewhere here. Just in here. So it's along the river walk almost. It has like a Brisbane wheel, and the city center is just here. So it's like 5 to 10 minutes walking distance. So everything is super close. And everything is super well organized as well. We have like galleries, lots of restaurants and so on. So you'll be able to enjoy really Brisbane experience. And the convention center is one of the best convention centers in the world. So in 2016, it was awarded the best convention center. and it's super well organized as well, so the experience is very good for us. The last slide is this one, which is showing the conference program. I already mentioned at the beginning that perhaps conference program is very similar to what we have in Tokyo, but on the top of it we have SIGGRAPH Asia 2019 demo scene program and as well studio that we'll be trying to run next year as well. So that's it from me. Thank you.
Okay, hi, my name is Isamu Hasegawa from Luminous Productions. Today, I'm going to introduce our new studio, Luminous Productions, by focusing on who we are, what we have developed, and what we are trying to achieve. Also, I'm SIGGRAPH Asia 2018 Real-Time Live Chair, so I'm going to introduce SIGGRAPH Asia 2018 briefly. Just for your information, I encourage you to take as many photos and recordings of this session as you like, and upload them to SNS as well. At first, I thought many of you wouldn't know about our studio, Luminous Productions. So I brought a video to introduce the products we made so far. It includes console, PC, and mobile games, full CGI movie, cell animation, and cutting-edge technology like VR. So please enjoy. Okay. So, as you may notice, the core members of our studio is the development team of Final Fantasy XV. We were formerly known as Square Enix BT2, and we established Luminous Productions as a new company under the umbrella of Square Enix in March in order to take on our next goal after the release of Final Fantasy XV. Our slogan is, "The future's going to be super fun." This slogan is based on the following two principles. This future, which will be shaped by technology, is going to be incredible, and that our mission is to give people a brighter vision of the future through the power of our games. Next, I'd like to show you our best to achieve those visions: fusion of art and technology, scientific correctness, and collaboration. I will explain them in order from the top. First, I would like to talk about the CG art and technology. From the very beginning, our studio has always tried to seek the optimal fusion of art and technology. And over 100 artists work at our studio. When you see this combination of the concept art and the computer graphics, I think you can understand both of art and technology are necessary for us to create our own contents. Regarding CG technologies, one of the main features of our studio is that we possess both pre-rendering CG and real-time CG technologies. Since it is very rare for a single studio to be involved in the development of both, I think that our studio is very unique, even on a worldwide scale. At our studio, we fuse our pre-rendering CG and real-time CG technologies in our work. For example, since we can share our character model assets and rigs in both pre-rendered and real-time CG formats, we are able to effectively improve the technologies of both through their mutual cooperations. In recent years, we actively pursuing academic contributions in order to improve our technologies and contribute to industry and academia, such as SIGGRAPH, GDC, and so on. As I said that one of our bases is fusion of art and technology, so our contributions are from both of art and technology. We also aim entertainment contents that are scientifically correct. As we stated in the talk session, Making Out of the Cradle, the latest theory says that the ancestors of the human race stood upright with their feet, unlike the crouching apes that we imagine as our ancestors, like the left figures. Therefore, in the Out of the Cradle, we described our ancestors like the figure on the right. This is one example of scientifically correct entertainment. Next, we also take collaboration seriously. Some of our partners are the companies and universities displayed on the screen. By the assistance and the advice of their expertise, we can make the better game, and at the same time, we can bring the valuable data or content for them. We can broaden the boundary of the development by having their support. Lastly, I'd like to show you our latest work. Out of the Cradle is a documentary employing CG that showcases the latest academic theories pertaining to the birth of mankind. Our studio has cultivated the technical expertise by which we were able to provide entertaining and stunning visuals. In short, Out of the Cradle is a culmination of our bases: fusion of art and technology, scientific correctness, and collaboration. I also brought a trailer movie to introduce Out of the Cradle. Okay. Also, please let me advertise some of our activities related to SIGGRAPH. First, we have an exhibition at the production gallery pertaining to Out of the Cradle and our another achievement of collaboration, animation to games project. So if you still haven't seen it, please take a look. The location is displayed on this map. Next, as you know, SIGGRAPH Asia 2018 will be held in Tokyo, Japan. And we will also have presentations and exhibitions. So please take a look at our latest products and technologies at SIGGRAPH Asia 2018. At SIGGRAPH Asia 2018, the program does not only include regular sessions like tech papers, but also have new sessions for SIGGRAPH Asia. For example, we will have real-time live also in SIGGRAPH Asia. As you know, real-time live is one of the most attractive live events at SIGGRAPH. That showcases the latest trends and techniques for pushing the boundaries of interactive visuals. So please look forward to SIGGRAPH Asia 2018. And finally, our studio is currently seeking new staff members. If there is anyone who is interested in working at Luminous Productions, please visit our website or contact us. Thank you.
Can I have a mic adapter? Thank you. Yeah, sure, why not? Yep. Come on. Okay. Hi, everyone, and well, thank you for coming to my talk, and actually thank you for coming to the session. My name is Bektir, and I'm originally from Kyrgyzstan, Central Asia, but I'm currently working in Japan, but I still, love my country, and I'm trying to improve the state of computer graphics in my region. So probably the first thing when you hear the country Kyrgyzstan, the first question you have is, where is it? What is it? What is this place? And I come from Central Asia, which is, well, is the center of Asia from the, to the west from China. And it's a small region that is not really well known for computer graphics. And I personally come from Kyrgyzstan. It's right there, right in the middle. And recently, I learned that in my country, we have very, very, well, actually not recently, but I've always known that in my country, we had a very vibrant IT community. But recently, it has been developing at a really, really rapid pace. So for instance, according to the Global Innovation Index, we jumped from the place like number 93 to number 35 in the export of IT technologies within a year. So I thought we have a very rapidly developing IT industry, but most of the services that are provided are kind of like support services. So for instance, are like web development, web front end, back end, and so on and so forth. And my question was, okay, so what can I do to make people more interested in computer graphics? What can I do to make them more interested in AR, VR, and so on? So I collaborated with several local startups in Kyrgyzstan to create the first meetup, or some people call it a conference, but I would prefer to call it a meetup, about interactive technologies, about XR, as we called it, extended reality, meaning the XR technology, so everything on the spectrum of MR and VR. And we collaborated with a lot of local and foreign companies, local and foreign communities. And in a way, while we were trying to create this meetup, we created some kind of a snapshot of the state of computer graphics in Central Asia. Also, while I'm talking about the snapshot of the graphics in Central Asia, technically I'm talking only about Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan, because we were not able to get in touch with communities, for instance, with Uzbekistan or Afghanistan and so on. But of course, this is still on the roadmap, so maybe in the future we'll also add more countries to this list. So we try to find the companies, because when you start talking about computer graphics in Kyrgyzstan, you're like, I don't know, best case somebody made a Unity project and that's it. But turns out we actually have quite a few companies. Most of them are indie game development companies. We have literally one AR/VR startup, but I hope we're going to have more. And similarly, in Kazakhstan, they're a bit a few years ahead of us. They have very, very large game development communities with their own big conferences and so on. And they even have multiple AR/VR startups. So in the next few slides, I'm just going to showcase you some of the works that they have done that I think are interesting. So for instance, in Kyrgyzstan, we have several companies for instance, ERKS companies. They are doing the AR development. For instance, their recent project was about an AR game. And we have one of the earliest indie game development studios, the Greenwood Studio, who made World of One games that I think it was 3 years ago when Steam Greenlight was still a thing. And they got greenlit, and it was really big news in our local IT communities. We're very excited about it. And they're still active. They help us to actually organize the meetup. And aside from the game development companies, the VR industry, industry probably because I think it's a bit of a big word in this case, but let's say it's an industry. The VR industry is mostly represented by entertainment. So we have VR parks, but still the most kind of common form of interaction with VR for people is mobile VR. So we're trying to push towards mobile AR/VR development. I worked with several startups on creating AR/VR development courses, like for instance using ARKit and so on and so forth. Similarly, in Kazakhstan, they have games that really made it big. For instance, the games that I'm showing here had over 30,000 views on YouTube. And they have a lot of downloads on App Store. I never played the game myself, but it's kind of interesting. And they have a very large game development meetup with support of big companies like Epic Games, for instance. And they're actively trying to promote and create and kind of expedite or enlarge their community. And their AR/VR industry is has more projects. They're really working very hard with Russia. They're working not only on the entertainment, but also on interactive technologies. So they're trying to look into, aside from gaming, they're trying to branch into research and so on. So for instance, here downstairs at the exhibition floor, I saw a Skolkovo booth, which is a Russian, kind of like a Silicon Valley clone. I'm not sure if that's really a clone, but the companies that I'm showcasing here has actually worked with Skolkovo. So if you have a chance, please drop by their booth and maybe ask them questions. But of course, since the technology is digital, we're also trying to branch out and have collaborations with international speakers. So this time, first of all, we did a questionnaire. We asked people, do you know anything about VR? And a lot of people said, yeah, we are aware of it, but we do not know how it works, so we want to learn more. So I think there is a lot of opportunity for education. So we tried to attract companies and organizations from abroad that could be interesting and useful for educative purposes. So we had a distinguished speaker from Unity presenting the introduction course on Unity development, and we were also supported by Carlos Group, who are developing the, as you know, AR/VR standards and a lot of different other standards in computer graphics, and of course by ACM SIGGRAPH Asia. And so what we got in the end is, I can show you this video. This is a startup that organized it. I'm just going to skip it. We had quite a few attendees. I think the number was around at least 100, which is quite a lot for a small town such as Bishkek. I think the whole population is only a couple of million people. So for a small IT community, that was quite interesting. We organized our own demo session. We had multiple speakers from different countries. And and I think the event was quite successful. And in the subsequent courses that we were trying to do, a lot of people were actually coming, being interested and inspired by this meetup. So I think it kind of worked out. So we're hoping to work more to continue working in this area of work. Wait, did they do a demo session video? No. Yeah. We had a really small demo session with mostly mobile demos where people could try out different games. So, what is next? Well, I'm thinking of different areas of collaboration. I'm currently working with ACM SIGGRAPH International Resources Committee. If you open the SIGGRAPH blog, we have released an interview with Iran Computer and Video Games Foundation as a part of SIGGRAPH Spotlight podcast. And we're considering working with them because they're really close neighbors. We're also trying to branch out into Russian communities. However, from my perspective, the Russian community is still very fractured. So it's a bit hard to contact, a certain person that would know everybody. It doesn't work like that. So I have to contact everybody, which is a bit hard. And since I'm working in Japan, I'm the part of GST CREST Diversity Initiative, where we're working on, providing different diversity services for example, health handicapped people. We're hoping to branch out and continue doing some research that could also have not only Japan, but also the Kyrgyzstan and other countries in Central Asia. And finally, we need speakers, supporters, and we're basically happy to collaborate with anybody who's interested. So if you want to work with us, please let me know. Thank you very much. Who's next?
Let's see this one first. Hi everyone, my name is Harley. I'm the founder of Original Force, which we started like 20 years ago in China. So today's topic is, because I think that the reason I was invited was because I really experienced the history, and let's say the growth of Chinese CG industry. Which I started in 1999, which is very, very early at that stage. There was almost no market there. Let's start. So first, I want to introduce a little bit about our company. So Original Force, as I said, we started 20 years ago, and now it grew to one of the largest CG house in China. We have 1,200 people right now, and we're continuing expanding. In China, we're in different locations: Beijing, Chengdu, Nanjing, and we also have our studio in Los Angeles and San Francisco. So basically, during the last 20 years, we expand the company and become more international company. This is what we're doing. Actually, we have a big CG production pool. We internally we said all the skills and the production ability of CG production. But we do a lot of different things like CG movies. We produce our CG movies, and we co-produce CG movies with other companies. And we have a big game service unit, which do a lot of game graphics, animation for the game industry. And we also do real-time content. It's a new division that we established using more advanced, new game engine technology to produce content. And we also have a theme park and a digital, team doing other stuff. Yeah, here's some of the work that we have done in the past years. Like for this, for Uncharted, we are one of the most important vendor for Naughty Dog, worked on from Uncharted 2 till now. And The Last of Us, they're one of their famous games. And GTA 5, we also do a lot of the cutscenes and animation for GTA. And Call of Duty. So in the game side, we have around 600 people, providing high-end CG kind of services for most of the famous, game companies around the world. Yeah. as I started, my goal is to make animations. So why we do games? Actually, it's a story, because we couldn't survive at that time. There was almost no market for the animation side. So we moved to the game side and do a lot of international, outsourcing work. When we started, so it becomes one of our major business. We're still the second largest game kind of service company in China. But as I said, our goal is to producing high-end animations. So we got our first project from DreamWorks in 2011. Actually, we got our first project. It was an interesting experience because, at that time, we don't have any experience of doing high-end TV shows. So we did a test for them, and they show, really good quality, which is close to the movie. So we got this project, and we become the leading studio of producing this TV series. So it was on Netflix, and it has been finished for a while. So our second one, in the animation side is also television. It's called True Hunters. So we are also one of the major, animation studio for True Hunters, which is produced by Guillermo. And our team is also, working on another, upcoming DreamWorks show with Guillermo. Yeah. So that is how we started in a animation side. So we almost spent 10 years before we got our first animation project. So it was a bit hard. And I think we are lucky as our first client was DreamWorks. It helped us a lot, to developing our pipeline, developing our technology, and also, starting, to build up the studio to a size which we can do more our own high-end stuff. So starting from 2015, we produced our first kind of like a photoreal kind of CG movie in China. So it's called Lord, and I think it is the first in Chinese CG industry. It is the first high quality photoreal kind of movie. So we built up all the system, the scanning system, the motion capture system to produce this movie. So it was with a lot of stars. So we took them, but the whole movie actually it is full CG movie. There's no live action in this one. I have a footage which I can show you guys. It is for the second one. It's called Lord 2. So it's a sneak peek. Actually, it is. Do
I need to use my?
Oh.
Let me bring mine.
No. I think I just plugged in. Yeah, it should. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so this is a short footage for Lord 2, which we're going to release pretty soon. Sorry, I muted. I need.
然而我这一生有两件事情让我格外的骄傲，一件就是成为了吉尔伽美什的使徒，另一件 就是成为了你的忘却。
Yeah. Okay. So that is a short footage, from LoR 2. Actually, we spend years like developing technology and pipeline to produce this kind of movie. But this is not the only kind of the movie that we're producing. Actually, we just released another one. It's called Duck Duck Goose. It was the first Chinese animated feature, which is like widely released around the world. Was released in UK, France, Russia, and a lot of the countries. And it was in North America was made into Netflix original. It was let me show you some piece.
我是天下第一的王，
Yeah, it's a more cartoony kind of style.
整片天空都笼罩着，那是一种彻彻底底的自由，那感觉真是太棒了。搞什么啊？这是鸭子！哎，快点走开！现在我们团结一致，统一行动，跟我走准没错。啊！ 悠着点，老弟。其实我根本不需要
Yeah,
这
so
钱，
this been
而
long,
且
so I'll stop here. So that was what we had done in the past few years. So as we are talking about like CG in Asia. So I want to cover a little bit about the CG industry in China. Everyone knows like China is a big market. So what is happening there is interesting. So I think we saw like a big change during the past years. I think at the beginning when we started this industry, so most of the CGI house was more like act as a vendor. So we do services for different companies, like both in China, but also doing services for other countries. As I said, I also started the providing services for like DreamWorks and other companies. But most of our studio, we want to produce our own content. So I think one of the big changes, most of the Chinese animation company are starting to produce their own content instead of like just purely doing service work anymore. And another big change which I'm seeing is like originally that we use technology which was developed by other people but now we are developing our new technology. So you will see more and more Chinese developed technology, high-end technology, which is going to be, everyone can start to use the Chinese developed technology very soon. I'm going to present several technology later. So in China, I think most of the business is coming from these several things. Of course, CG movies and the CG episodic web shows. It is one of the biggest market in China, and also we have a lot of FX house in China. Providing FX for movies. That we have Chinese movie box office number is huge now. So there are more and more studios doing FX. And we also, there is a market which is also pretty good, is digital content for location-based entertainment. It's a new area that, people are investing a lot of money. Like, big companies like Wanda and other people are investing into the theme park, but not only theme park, but also smaller size of like location-based like in a more like area that people can go there and experience different entertainment. So here are some of the numbers which I can show you for the CG episodic web shows. It is pretty interesting. In China, it is a big market. It's a big market. You see one of the top list, a show that they can have like 1.2 billion plays on the internet, and people, a lot of the big companies are investing a lot of money into this to get viewers. Get viewers to attract the international internet traffic. So that is a new market, not new market. Actually, it started several years ago, but it's become very, very big now. So CG movie is we can see some of the numbers. 24 CG movies released in 2017. It's all Chinese CG movies. It's not like Hollywood CG movies. It's all Chinese. 32 released in 2016. So the number is getting decreased a little bit, but it's almost stable. And the Chinese animation movie generated 1.1 billion RMB box office in 2017. Comparing to Hollywood animation movies, it's pretty small. It's pretty small. Our lore project, our first lore project, which you just saw, the lore one generate 50 million US dollars in 2016. It's a number which is okay, but it is comparing to Hollywood animated feature, it's still small, yeah. But for investment like us, as we invested into Lord, also invested into Lord 1, it's a good number. It's a good number. So the overall budget for Chinese CG movie is increasing slowly. Why am I using slowly? Because most of the CG movie in China is still have very, very low budget. Some numbers which you may not believe. It's around like 2 to 4 million US dollars per movie. I mean the overall budget, including development and the production. So our movies actually are, when we produce like Lord and Dr. Goose movie, it's much higher because we're target more like Dr. Goose is more like an international kind of movie. For Lord, because we have a lot of actors, famous actors join. Though we scan their digital data, it's kind of like not a family kind of cartoon animation anymore. It's more for like the normal adults and the normal audience. So it has a big market. So the investments into the CG industry in China, it's pretty interesting. During the past 2 years, I think Tencent. I think most of you guys know Tencent. Tencent almost investing into half of the top animation studio in China. So we are also invested by Tencent. We are the first animation studio invested by Tencent actually. After investing into us, they started to invest into a lot of like smaller studios. I think they kind of like they are shareholders of half of the animation companies now in China. And other VCs also invested huge money in the last 2 years. Most of them invested into the animation company who produce web episodic series. So it's interesting. It's not movie. Movie is like treated as a very risky business, still a risky business in China. So a lot of the VC invested into companies which do animation TV series or web series. Starting from 2018, because I talked to a lot of the CGI company in China, and we know a lot of them. Everyone feels like the investment getting slow. It's because I think one of the reasons is a big investment is not getting big return quickly. So things are getting a little bit slow. And also, the investments is coming from like, Tencent and other big platforms like Bilibili. They are investing into a lot of, animation companies, last year. But why are they doing this? Because they control the platform. So they need the content. They need content to fill into their platform. They are more like Netflix or YouTube in China. So it is their strategy. But, on the other hand, actually they control the content, which is, maybe not that good. It's my personal opinion. So the CG technology development in China, as I said, Chinese studios and Chinese companies are starting to develop technology. So we, during the production of Lord, actually we developed a lot of our own technology, like, camera rigs. We are doing our like relighting, rigs right now to capture the data. And we build a very huge performance capture studio. And we are, building our own face tracking technology. So here is a demo which I can show you guys. It is a pipeline that we developed using Unreal Engine, but connected with our motion capture, performance capture system, including face capture and also the body capture. So everything is real time. So our target is we put actors into the capture stage, and we capture and we render everything in real time. We hope that we can produce content, very quickly. So this is a real time, content when we are shooting stuff. Though there is something like not perfectly, like, the weapon is not attached to the hand, but it's real time. It's in Unreal Engine. And all the cloth, everything, lighting, and the environments, everything is in real time. So this is how it looks like at a stage. So at a stage, our director actually, he had a screen which showing the same stuff, on the top left. So he can see almost the final results. So it is a pipeline that we developed. Because, in the Unreal Engine, it doesn't have the performance capture. It's not supporting content creation very well, like time code. I think, one of the missing part is time code. So we developed time code and the pipeline to support this. So this is another tech that we are developing with one of my partners. They call it XMove. It's using deep learning to do real-time face and body capture, trying to produce higher quality for face animation and the body animation. So the camera actually, they are kind of like not high-end cameras.
Hello， 大家好，我是蘑菇酱，是来自 X 木魔法科技的虚
So
拟
the
3D 角
face
色。
and the body is in
我可
real
以
time
准确
at the
表
same
达人类
time.
的各种表情
We're
和各
using
种动作
the。face is fax
我呢是用一个
system,
真
so
实的演
basically
员表
the
演，使用
it's
X 木原
driving
创
a
技术实
fax
时捕捉演员的
based
面部表
facial.
情和肢体动作，从而实时渲染出来的一个虚拟3D 角色。我可以这样，哈哈哈，也可以这样，喵喵。
So basically you can see
还可以
the
这样。
face is pretty solid. The result is pretty solid.
我的存在给影视动画、游戏、直播等领域都带来了一种全新的创作方
Trying
式。
to
那么，如
give
果
the
想要了解
animators
关于我
like
的更多信息，我
the
在
final
A3
results,
展台等你哟。
so that they don't need to spend a lot of time to clean. And also a very interesting technology which is recently released in China by a Chinese company. They call it like Mirror. They combine Autodesk Maya and the Unreal Engine together, which is very, very interesting, and we are testing it. So they bring the Maya and Unreal together. So basically what you're seeing in Unreal, and you can have a window showing the same thing in Maya, and anything you tweak, in Unreal, I mean the shaders, everything, it will show in Maya right away, and you can animate it in Maya, and it will show the results in Unreal right away. So it is pretty solid, very, very interesting technology, and it's trying to bring the GPU, the real-time thing to for the industry. So as I said, I think it is. Oh, sorry. It is like more development happening in China. Not only the content, but we are also developing technologies. So let's conclude that of course there are challenges in Chinese market. We have a big, huge market which everyone knows that this is big money in China always. But we are in lack of experienced talents and team. During the past 20 years, one of the challenges for even for us is how we can find good talent. So this is why we established our studio in US, trying to attract more people. And one of the things which people don't want to see is most of the studios are still losing money, which is true. So I know a lot of friends, and everyone is doing that. We have a big investment, but we are not making enough money yet. Because the market is not stable. Why? Because the audience is not stable, and there is not right away even for the web episodic is controlled by the platform. So for the CG production companies, it's still hard. It's still not there yet. And we are seeing less investment were put into China in the CG industry in the coming 2 years. So hopefully that we will get through it. And no matter what, we have a big market, and we believe in that we're going to have a big future. Thank you.
Thank you, our speakers, for this vivid story from Asia. And because we are running out of time, so if you have any question, we welcome everyone to go outside this door. Our speakers could answer any of your questions. And so we will give this room to the next section. Thanks again for everyone to CG in Asia. So we're looking forward to next year in Los Angeles. We will have this section again. So don't forget to prepare for the next year. Thank you. Thank you very much. Invite them to Brisbane.